Hello there everybody, What Culture Wrestling's Adam Clery here, and despite the fact I had retired from doing loads and loads of Marvel videos, because we had done loads and loads of Marvel videos, I saw one comment last week, one singular comment that said, boy howdy, you're not done an Avengers theory in a while, so to spite the rest of you, here is one. But I don't want to give you the wrong impression. I'm not doing this video merely for the sake of it. Something has happened in the last few days that makes the whole concept of Avengers theories, specifically Endgame theories, although it's technically an Infinity War theory, but I digress, all the more relevant. You see, there has been another deleted scene, and rather than it being just that Tony Stark one where he just talked with his daughter for ages, nothing really happened, this one feels important. Now, here's the thing. One plot hole that I think Marvel have been very, very lucky that people haven't really seemed to pick up upon or really make a big deal over was that whole Doctor Strange predicting what was going to happen in Infinity War, where he looked into the future and his head was giving all of this and he saw the 14 million possible outcomes. The thing that kind of got glossed over was that it was established in Doctor Strange's origin movie by the Ancient One as she was about to die that she'd seen this exact point in time before, but never beyond it. Thus, she knew she was going to die because the seer can't see beyond their own death. So, how the hell does Doctor Strange know what's going to unfold in Endgame if he's going to die in Infinity War? How has he seen past his own death? Just as an aside, I think the reason that has got a pass from fans is because that's such a poignant moment in Doctor Strange and so brilliantly acted by Tilda Swinton, and it looks nice and it feels so good for the story that we don't kind of want to use it to beat the rest of the MCU to death with, but I digress. I've also just said I digress twice in the space of about a minute, so gonna have to stop doing that. So for all we've made the jokes that what he was seeing was the one universe in which that rat or the mouse or whatever it was going to step on that button and send Ant-Man out the arse end of that big funny machine, what he was actually seeing was the one universe in which Tony Stark sacrificed himself to save the universe, and thus they all won. But just to circle back onto the point I was trying to make, all of these different scenarios, all of these different universes, all the different ways they lose, and indeed the one way they win, involves Thanos first snapping everyone out of existence, thus killing Doctor Strange, thus technically rendering him unable to see past that point. And see, it's all just this big confusing plot hole. There's no way he could have seen past what should have been the moment of his death on Titan. And while it is one of these things that's kind of just explainable with the wave of a hand, like, shut up, it's not a big deal, stop worrying about it, you can do that, but it does seem that the writing team, at least for Avengers Endgame, were aware of it and were worried about it because a deleted scene has just emerged on Disney+, and yes, you're right, I have just flown all the way over to America, sat and watched it, then flown all the way back, which explains this problem. And the thing is, up until now, we've all kind of just had this assumption, based partly on the comics, based partly on the lore of the films, and based partly on common space sense, I guess, of how the gauntlet worked, of how the snap precisely functioned. Basically, Thanos constructed a super weapon based of all these individual gems, and he snapped his fingers and wiped out half the universe on a scale hitherto unimaginable, or whatever it was. Now, yes, there are some intricacies for it, like the Power Stone acts as the battery, the Mind Stone's able to focus on all the individuals, the Soul Stone is the thing that changes their status from living to dead, but again, this is all not really clarified in the films, hinted at in some parts, some stuff from the comics gets pulled in, but it's never actually been laid out for us. But this deleted scene in Avengers Endgame explains precisely how it works. It's basically an alternative conversation between Banner and the Ancient One on the rooftops in New York, and explains exactly that these people were not killed by the snap, they were simply, and this is the word you want, willed out of existence by Thanos. And it's that key distinction in the terminology of this event. He has not killed these people. They are not dead. They are simply willed out of existence, moved into another plane or something like that, and explains why Doctor Strange can't foresee past the point of his dustining over on Titan. He is not killed. It's not a death event for him. He is not dead. He's simply just not here. Now, that's all well and good, Adam, you might well say, and you would be right in doing so, but the problem this opens up, if you want to call it a problem, is that it opens the door for people to come back from any potential snap. Tony Stark died as a result of the stones. Yes, he is dead. Black Widow jumped off the thing. Yes, she is dead. But everybody who was a bad guy and who vanished at the end of Endgame ain't dead. Now, this might all seem a little bit pedantic to you, the difference between being killed and willed out of existence. Well, I mean, I don't want either in any capacity, so I don't really see there's too much between them, but it does at least prove that the writers are thinking about the terminology. There are ways around a lot of the people who are dying, a lot of the people who are being written out of the MCU, and that opens the doors, of course, for them all to come back. But it does also ask, and I guess subsequently answer the question of why did they write that bit out of the movie? This is a fairly important difference, especially if they're thinking about bringing people back further down the line. But it is, I will grant, a very convenient piece of exposition. Like, hey, just remembered you were in your own film with Cumberbatch, weren't you? And you said that you can't do all this stuff, but he's doing it. So hey, what the hell? And Tilda Swinton's just like, yeah, about that's just death. And what he's done, not killed them, despite the fact they're all dead. They're just willed out of existence. It's like car salesman 101. And yes, if you have been to America like I have and you have watched this scene, it does also invite an entirely new plot hole, because she talks about the snap as something she foresaw happening, and that of course happens after her actual literal death. So it's just, they've written this thing, haven't they, to explain one plot hole, and in the process, they've gone and dropped a nice vase. What I will say, though, is that the writers, at least the people who are coming up with this lore and this canon by which we must all dedicate our lives and abide, are at least thinking about this thing, and they have introduced some kind of narrative sense for people who have been snapped coming back to life. Whether or not they will do anything with that, I don't know at this stage, but given what a box office blockbuster Mother Hubbard success Thanos was, well, if you were Disney and there was a way to get him back for another film, you'd do it. And one thing on a personal note, the ending of Robert Downey Jr.'s arc as Iron Man in that last scene was pitch perfect. There is no better way to do it. Please, fine if you want to give him a cameo in the past every now and then, fine. I don't care about that. Do not, Disney, I know you're watching, do not bring him back in some weird, janky narrative way. Please, I beg, let him die. But as ever with these sort of things, and as I say, I've done a million Marvel theories over the course of my infinite life, I'm far more interested to know what you make of it in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. No, you're right, I'm not actually wearing a watch, but in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I have, of course, been Adam Clery. Don't forget to subscribe to What Culture on everything. Podcasts, the internet, your soul, whatever you've got. And we'll see you soon.